of BizTalks, and this time we are going to talk with Christine about her journey as a business and mindset coach online. And she is the first guest who is the closest to me geographically because she is coming live from Prague, Czech Republic, right, Christine?
That's correct. Hi.
Hey, so tell us a bit about how you started and how come that you are in Prague, because you are not Czech just by looking at you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And that's a great question. So how I ended up in Czech, it's yeah, I can tell you a bit more about my story later on, but I was living in London and I met my partner working for the same company back in London. So with a lot of flying in between the UK and Czech, we decided that perhaps we would give Prague a go with, it being the biggest city in Czech, and it would be nice to live in the same country as at least one of our families. But I am originally from Norway, so none of us were very keen on moving back there. So that's why it ended up with Prague, and we're very happy that we did.
And has it anything got to do with you being an online business and mindset coach, this personal twist in the story, or it started much
No.
earlier?
Yeah, no, it's got, well, both my entrepreneurial journey, so to speak, kind of started at the same time as I met my partner, but I wouldn't say that they are very, I probably would have moved anyways. I did have a job where I was very much in the online space from before. So, I already have my own clients around the world. It didn't really matter if I was sitting physically in London or not. So, I would have moved anyways, but it was a good kind of excuse to have to be changing countries, to kind of then see that as a break from, leaving my 9 to 5 as well, and kind of see, right, like this is where I'll take my business full time, and I'll get a clean slate, a fresh start in, a brand new city, a brand new country.
So what it tells me is that running a business or having a business allows you to have a life, a personal
Yeah,
life that feels much more fulfilling. But when you got
absolutely.
started, but when you got started, um, what made you? So what was the last drop, or what was the last push towards this path, if not a new relationship or moving countries?
In terms of leaving my job, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like taking my business full time. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've heard this before, but working in a corporate job in London, you call it a 9 to 5, but it's not really a 9 to 5, is it? We're talking, at least 60-hour weeks. It's, working the entire weekend. You just get so burnt out. And obviously, like, I've always known that I wanted to start my own business, but I, didn't quite know what that would be. And so after having my corporate job where I was a business consultant, by the way, so that's kind of what got me into that path of I can actually do it now, So I will say that thanks to my job, I got the confidence, I would say, that I needed to kind of go after my entrepreneurial journey as soon as possible. But once I actually did start having my, side hustle, as they call it, it was, even worse, having these long hours, having all of these clients that were only on my shoulders in my job, in my 9 to 5. And I completely burnt myself out. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was literally sent home from my offices several times by my bosses. How, embarrassing it might sound, because I was completely exhausted. And so experiencing that twice in a row, not being able to kind of find my feet again, really told me that I actually needed a bit of a different pace in life and in how I was working. And I knew, having then worked in my business for half a year or so by the time I left, that this is what I really want to do. This is what I'm really passionate about. So I'm not going to give it up, but something's got to give. Right. So then it was, okay, I think that it's best for me to leave my job, however safe, some people might regard that to be, and leave that behind and just start afresh on my own and take my business full time, to give my passion more time and room and space to expand and grow, rather than having to spend most of my energy, most of my time, most of my resources really on my 9 to 5 that just did not feel fulfilling anymore. So yeah.
What has been the first milestone or the first time after taking your business full time when you really felt confident that it's gonna work?
Oh, I think that must have been when I hit my first 5K month. That was like a good one. Yeah, like as you can tell, I'm very much from that strategic background, like the hustle, the sales, the strategies, yada yada. But when I hit my first 5K month, that's when I, for the first time, really experienced what it was like with using manifestation, implementing manifestation for my business. And so that was a huge place in my business where I found that confidence of, do you know what, like this is actually working. But it was also realization that it's not just because of the strategy that I knew from before. It's actually also because I'm allowing my energy to follow where my strategy, wants to take me, so to speak. And, yeah, just realizing that between my 3K month and my 5K month, it wasn't that big of a difference. I still had two new clients, both of those 2 months, I remember. But, I'd increased my prices by my 5K month and both of them paid in full. So all of a sudden I was sitting there with, almost 7K in cash in 1 month, which I'd never done before. And I just realized that actually there was no difference in my strategy because, still, it was just two clients exactly the same way as earlier. So it was really about what kind of energy I was bringing to the table as well, what kind of confidence I was bringing to the table. And so when I saw that actually, not only do I have the desire to go for those 5K months and to be receiving that kind of money in such a short span of time, I also have the confidence to back that up so that it's actually making me in alignment with what it is that I want. And so, just realizing that, this actually happened. I literally had, it was, to be exact, it was 6.7K pounds that month in cash. And that was a huge deal for me. I remember when that hit, I was like, this is actually working. What I'm doing is like, yeah, it's working.
You mentioned that you brought the same energy to a 3K months compared to a almost 7K months, and you did it with only two clients. What is it that, so how did you find the offers that allowed you to create the 3K months and the almost 7K months? What changed between the offers? I assume they are one-on-one offers, right?
Yes,
Did you add
yes.
anything? Did you just reposition the offer? How was that?
So the only difference was the energy. So I came into that 5K month or 7K month, let's just call it that. I came into that month with a whole different energy than I did with my 3K month, which, previously I say 3K just because that had been previously my biggest month up to that time. And the energy was just different. Like I didn't have that same confidence back then. I remember having 3 clients and I just left my job. So I was still working in my 9 to 5, after I'd handed in my resignation by the time that I hit 3K. And so it was still quite, it was still quite new. I still had a lot on my plate. I was quite tired and overwhelmed still. I was so tired of my 9 to 5 and so, exhausted from it all. So, with my 7K month, I was not overwhelmed. I was not burnt out. I wasn't, I came into the whole thing with an entirely different energy, and my confidence was on a whole different level because at that time I already knew that I could have those clients. Like I'd already been signing them up one after one. So that was the biggest change. The other change was that I had increased my prices. Not by too
Yeah,
much
yeah,
though. That's the interesting thing. But it's just that when I hit that 7K month, both of them paid in full. So all of us, well, one of them had paid, a small deposit in the month before, but still, what she paid most of it in that month, and I had another one signing up that same month. So all of a sudden, I had that much money with doing exactly the same kind of job. There was no difference between my programs. So like you mentioned, they're both one-on-one coaching, but I hadn't changed like the structure of it. I hadn't changed how many sessions, anything like that. It's just that I had a completely different confidence, not only with my selling, but also with my skills as a coach, as a business coach. I kind of knew even further down deep into my core, so to speak, right? That I knew what I was talking about. So it kind of made more sense.
Just to drive this message home, you said you worked around 60-hour work weeks
Oh, yeah.
in your corporate job. How many hours did you or do you work with your business a week approximately?
Well, on most days, I will work good 5 hours a day, every weekday. Maybe even sometimes Saturdays as well. Not because I have to, but because I want to. So I would say in between 25 and 30 hour weeks. Obviously, it depends if you're having a launch or, I can
Yeah,
have,
of course, but you
yeah,
still have the time. So
it's literally like, yeah, probably less than half the time. It's ridiculous. And I earn way more than I ever did back then.
this is what I wanted to ask. What is
Yeah.
the, the income gap that you can see between
Well,
your 9 to 5 and your business months?
Well, it's like a good 8K of a difference every month, and we're talking pounds. I'm not sure if you're using euros
Yeah.
or yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
it's dollars, sometimes it's pounds,
yeah,
depending on the,
yeah,
depending on the continent. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it means that you so that you can make way more money with way less work, doing
Work.
what you love, just being confident or bold enough to leave behind the 9 to 5.
Exactly,
What
exactly.
what support or what help did you hire at the initial stages, if you had any, and how
Mm-hmm.
did you choose?
So absolutely, I did have support in the beginning. I don't think that I would be able to take the leap to kind of really go after it in the very beginning if I didn't have that help. So in the very beginning, I went for a business coach. So it was like a 6-month program where I also got my certification. So I got my certification as an NLP practitioner and as a life coach, just to kind of not because it's necessary, I would say. I obviously help a lot of coaches, and I don't feel like everyone has to have a certification. I'm one of those people who just don't believe that's necessary. But I do believe that it's very helpful if you're struggling with your confidence and the imposter syndrome in the very beginning. And I was definitely one of those. I really wanted to have a certification to show to, so that I felt like this is legit, you know so I did that, and then afterwards I got a one-on-one business coach as well, who helped me completely transform my mindset. So from having done exactly the same strategy, I just had a completely different mindset, and then all of a sudden I was able to get those high ticket clients coming in. I've never signed up a single low ticket client before I got my very first high ticket client. So I did a lot of work on my mindset in the initial stages, a lot of work on my confidence, and on my belief in my own abilities, really.
So this brings up three different questions. Let's take them one by one. You say that a certification is not necessary to become a business
Mm.
coach, but what is it that is necessary to become a business coach online, besides
Experience.
confidence, skills, or
Yeah.
you know
I would say experience. I would say, when it comes to certification, it kind of depends on the niche, obviously. Like we all have different niches. And so there are definitely some niches within coaching that I do believe that it is probably best to have a certification to show to and have a bit of training. Like if you're a health coach, for instance, or a trauma coach, it might be best to have certain things behind you. But if you are, say like a burnout coach, or say you are, I don't know, a self-love coach, It's not necessarily needed. So it's really down to your confidence. I would say for a business coach, it's extremely important that you do have the experience. Like, for me, I went straight into business coaching, but I would never have been able to do that if I hadn't already been a business consultant to clients around the world and helping them increase their business revenue from their online business. So it's really about experience at the end of the day. Like, I have a business degree, but I don't feel like that's needed at all in order to succeed in the online space whatsoever. Like, no, yeah, I really don't believe there's any education needed. It's really about your experience and your skill set. And at the end of the day, you will move forwards if you believe that that's possible for yourself.
So the second question, you say that your mindset completely transformed. Where were you when you started, and where did you get to that you didn't need, you didn't need the experience of signing low ticket clients, but high ticket clients right from the beginning?
Well, yeah, let's just use that as an example then, clients themselves, because obviously there's so many things I can talk about in terms of how I transformed my mindset. But let's talk about clients. So in the beginning, I felt like it was impossible to sign high ticket clients. It was impossible to even get clients because in my 9 to 5, yes, I have my own clients there, but they were all given to me. And then I just helped them to get clients again. But my clients, I was always giving them to me. They all came to me. So all of a sudden I had to change that mindset where I had to be the one selling. And that's something that I was not comfortable with to that extent. Like, I'd been working in sales for 5 years, but that was with products. And so even though I had a lot of very valuable experience there, I felt very, very insecure selling something that was, at the end of the day, nothing about me. It was my services. It wasn't a nice product or something that I really believed in. I had to believe in myself enough to be selling this to a high ticket price, or for a high ticket price. And so, everything that I needed to change to realize that actually it is possible to get a high ticket client. And not only is it possible, it's easily achievable. And then not only is it easily achievable, it is actually effortless to be getting clients to that on that level. And so that's quite the journey, to take.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's like an example of what I was doing to really change my beliefs. Also, my confidence around my own skill set. I mean, the fact that I had to realize for a time what I'd actually been helping my clients with back in London, to realize that actually I knew what I was talking about. So it wouldn't make a difference that I would now be charging them to my account as opposed to my firm's account. So a lot of, imposter syndrome, which I see time and time again, because most of my clients are coaches, they are, almost all of them are coming in with that imposter syndrome. So it's very common, but it's like, I don't think that we realize how much we actually know, because we attain this knowledge and these skills over a long amount of long period of time, and so eventually we kind of forget how much we know. It's kind of like we start taking our own knowledge for granted, and that's when the imposter syndrome kicks in. It doesn't have anything to do with reality. And so to realize that and make that bridge as well was definitely a big one for me in the very beginning. Yeah.
And the third question about this was, how did you decide that you are not going to do low ticket, only high ticket? Because we see that low ticket, high volume, and high ticket, low volume structured or business models work totally differently online.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you decide?
Well, the two things that kind of got me to decide on going after high ticket in the very beginning. So number one was that plainly that's what my coach recommended, and the reason for that was because it would take less job to get one client than it would to get 10 clients a month, for instance. And if you sell a packet for £2,500 to one person, then you're good for that month. Then you've already, then you have more of an income than you probably had in your job. So, but if you then have a low ticket offer, say that you would charge £250 for something, then you would have to get 10 new clients every single month in order to hit that 2.5K. And so for me, being in very much of a high energy, high hustle job, wanting to make my side hustle happen as quick as possible so that I would be able to leave my 9 to 5, it just made sense to go after the high ticket clients. And it's funny that you asked this. Actually, I've actually created like a couple of YouTube videos on this already, because it's just so much less energy that goes into it if you are focused on high ticket, because high ticket selling is much more to do with connections, and you need fewer people in order to hit your income goals. So it kind of made sense on every level for me at the time. Yeah.
And it's interesting that you mentioned, as in your answer to the previous question, that imposter syndrome is something that all of the coaches struggle with because of imposter syndrome, and because we do not know, or we cannot really acknowledge how much we know, or it's difficult to articulate the value that we bring to our clients, so as we could make a high ticket sale easily at the beginning. That is why we tend to lower our prices, right? So we
Exactly.
tend to think that if we just sell it for less, then people will just have the experience, and then we are going to work our way up to the high ticket price point, which is,
Exactly.
in my opinion, is definitely signing up for the struggle bus for sure, because different price points bring different types of clients, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. And also, I love what you were saying, because this is to the core why I'm talking, and so many other business coaches, why we're talking about the importance of mindset work all the time. Because the only difference between you taking a high ticket client and you taking a low ticket client, that's your mindset, that's your confidence, right? That's your ability to overcome that imposter syndrome, like we talked about. So that's one thing. And then also what you just mentioned now in terms of the kind of quality or type of clients that you will get at the different price points, it's really down to, and by the way, we're not talking about the quality of people here, we're talking about the quality of clients, aka how committed they are to their work with you as a coach. That's all we're talking about.
And the
What
attitude they bring to the sessions.
Exactly. And so what we see with high ticket clients then is that they have spent a lot of money working with you. So they are therefore a lot more likely to really be wanting to give their all to working with you, to give everything that they have to what you say. They will really respect everything that you say. They will really go full in with everything that you want them to do. This in turn will give them better results, because they're going through more of a transformation. When they get better results, they're happier with your services. And when they are happier with your services, they will give you better social proof as, testimonials and word of mouth. They will start talking about you as someone who really knows what they're doing. And then all of a sudden you even get great promotions that you're not even paying for, just because you actually charge a high ticket price as opposed to a low ticket price. But with a low ticket client, they haven't invested that much money. They're like, I could afford something else. This is just, something that I want to go through for a little while. They're not that fully invested, and therefore it's far less likely that they will experience the same as what the high ticket client experienced.
Exactly. So you say that mainly you work one-on-one, but I know you from Instagram, and I saw that you were launching something which is not a one-on-one offer.
Yes.
So when was the time when you felt you need to diversify your product suite or offer suite, and what is it that you have in the in your offers, or among your offers, besides the high ticket one-to-one?
Yeah, great question. So before I answer, I just want to say that, everybody's journey about this is completely different. And you just have to listen to yourself and listen to what feels good to you. In the initial stages, like we talked about, I was only focused on my one-on-one coaching. It just makes sense in the very beginning. But as you're going along and as you're starting to get clients more consistently, you might find that it's actually better for your resources, aka time, to be focused on different types of products. So I think it was like a year into my business where I realized that actually I want to expand a bit. So I created my group program, which is called the Boss Makeover, which is now it's a 3-month group program, which, takes you from striving and trying and barely surviving basically to thriving. That's why I wanted to call it the makeover. So this is a group program where you get pre-recorded modules, you get all of the worksheets, everything, and you get the weekly group sessions, but you don't get that, one-on-one time with me as much. And this is then what I like to call a mid-ticket offer. So it's between 1K and 2K. So it's still very much of an investment, right? Like it's still a lot of money, but it gives you more of a responsibility to yourself to go through more of the material alone, as opposed to having me sitting there on your shoulder at all times telling you, what to do or holding you accountable on more of a personal level. So that's the Boss Makeover. And then what you probably saw me launching was quite recently, actually, where I was launching my online course. So that course is called Make Money Like a Boss, and it's a self-paced course with 6 modules that you go through yourself. So this is a low ticket offer, and this is a pure mindset and manifestation course around money, and to be able to attract money through your business. And like we've been talking about in this conversation as well, mindset and your energy, the energy that you bring to the table, it really decides how much money you'll be able to earn from your business. And so that's why I just wanted to basically gather everything that I know around these topics and make it into a program so that people have this information accessible, even though they might not be able to invest in a high ticket or mid ticket program at the moment. So for me, it's an online course, which is low ticket, and then group program, which is mid ticket, and then one-on-one, which is high ticket. So that's kind of the product suite that I have at the moment. Yeah.
Do you have the same ideal clients for all 3 offers, or are they different in some sense?
Yes, great question. So they're definitely different. So I think it's very important to be very clear on your ideal client, not only for your business as a whole, but also for the different programs that you have. So as soon as you diversify your product suite, definitely the first thing you should do is ask yourself, who is it that I want to be serving with this new offer? So for me, with my one-on-one coaching, that's for coaches who's been in the game for a little while and they are struggling to get clients consistently. It's a lot of ups and downs in their income. They are struggling with staying consistent. They are perhaps struggling with getting those high ticket clients often enough, but they definitely have had a few clients already and they are ready to perhaps diversify their own product suite into a group program or an online course or something like that. With my group program, I'm 100% focused on the coach who's brand new. So a coach who's either just finished a certification or is working on a certification and she's still in her 9 to 5. So she's not a full-time coach like the one for my one-on-one coaching. And she really wants to get out of her job. She wants to become her own boss. And she struggles with getting those first few clients. She struggles to, get enough money to actually be able to leave her job and to have that sustainable income from her business. So that's my ideal client for my group program. And then my online course is for the coach who's brand new again, but she's struggling with her mindset and she does not have the resources, however she wants to put it, to invest in a proper group program or into proper coaching. But she feels completely stuck with her mindset. She does not know what to do. And yeah, if that's you, then definitely the course is the best option because it gives you so much value, but it's just for a fraction of the price. So yeah.
Just to wrap this interview up, what advice would you give to the Christine who started out early 2019 with all the knowledge, all the experiences, all the things that have gone down over the past 2.5 years, looking back?
It would definitely be believe in yourself and work on your money mindset. Like, I think I just skipped out on the money mindset for way too long, hence why I just wanted to create a course on it, right? Because I just realized that this is so, so important, and just really sit down every single day, because back then I was really good with doing morning routines. I was really structured. I was really disciplined, but I didn't spend my time right. And so looking back now, please do some more journaling around what's actually stopping you here, rather than these fancy meditations or whatever that people's been giving you. Just focus on what you need to be working on, because every entrepreneur is different, and I have my stuff, and that's not necessarily what other people have to deal with. So I need to work on what I need to work on in order to grow as quick as I can.
This is such a legit point, that even though you are disciplined, even though you are putting in the effort, if you don't focus on putting in the right effort, being disciplined with the right tasks,
Yeah,
the growth or the improvement that you make is not the kind of growth or improvement that is going to bring you the result that you are looking for, right? It's
exactly,
just
exactly.
spinning the wheels.
Yeah,
So it was so
exactly.
lovely. It was so lovely to hear your journey. And next week we are coming back with another amazing business or mindset coach, or business and mindset coach, we shall see, to hear about her journey, to inspire us to keep going, never to give up, and just make this online coaching business a lot more diverse and a lot more authentic. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.